Josh from Multiversity Comics here with the one and only Peter David. I can't even begin to list the things he's written. How are you doing this morning?
Doing fine.
It's good to hear. It is good to hear. Starting off with kind of my biased route over in X Factor. Right now you have the big arc going on with Thor and the Asgardian mythology. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Yes, everyone should buy it and read it.
Excellent, excellent bit of advice. I actually, a couple days ago in the X-Men panel, when you asked for hints, when you were asked for hints as to who's leaving the team, your response was just classic. We were just cracking up. But following this arc, do you want to talk about what's coming up in the series?
Yeah, sure. We have a couple of one-off issues, one of which is going to be kind of a torrent from the headlines type story, in which X Factor is pulled into a tragic event involving a teenager who commits suicide because of bullying, and the grieving older brother wants to bring in X Factor to find out who is actually responsible for it. Then we're going to be launching into a storyline which is going to explain something fans have been asking about, which is how is it that in a city where J. Jonah Jameson is the mayor, is X Factor able to operate so out in the open? And we actually depict a flashback sequence in which Jamie Madrox, preparing to open up the agency, decides to beard the lion in his den and goes to Jonah Jameson and tells him what he's planning to do and expects pushback, and instead Jameson says he has no problem with this at all, which surprises Jamie, and then he says to him, however, and someday, and this day may never come, I may ask you to perform a service for me. And what happens is, in the course of the storyline, that debt comes due. Jameson turns in his marker and needs X Factor's help. Storyline is going to guest star Spider-Man and the Black Cat, and should be a lot of fun.
Kind of working backwards a little bit, you kind of have a reputation of taking C and D list characters and weaving gold out of them. Some of the stuff you've done with the characters you've been working with in X Factor is just fantastic. What goes into, I guess, character selection in your mind? Like, how do you decide that you want to work with a specific character?
Well, when we were putting together the X Factor team, first off, it just came down to who's available. Which characters can we pick and choose from? I would have actually liked to use Nightcrawler, for example, but Nightcrawler wasn't available. I would have liked to use Nightcrawler's daughter, Nocturne. She's not available. So, the roster of X Factor, we knew was definitely going to be Madrox. We knew definitely Rain was going to be there, to start at least. We knew that Strong Guy was going to be there. After that, it was all up for, interpretation, and we put together what we thought would be an eclectic group of personalities who would blend well with each other, play off of each other, and have fun friction, and ultimately we thought could make an interesting, if somewhat dysfunctional, family.
So, other than X Factor, you're also working on the Amory Wars with Claudio Sanchez. What is it like coming into a universe that's, I mean, much like your work with Marvel, coming into a universe that's already established and already with characters that you have to work with, but a much younger universe? Are you finding that you have a little bit more breathing room over there as opposed to maybe the established characters you worked with Marvel?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, there's a degree of breathing room, but ultimately what it comes down to is that it's Claudio's universe and his story to tell, and my job is to facilitate telling it as well as it can possibly be told. What's terrific is that Claudio has absolutely no ego involved. If there are points where I say, well, I think this could be done this way, or I think this doesn't work, he's absolutely 100% open to everything. To him, it's not about telling the story his way. It's about telling the story the best that it can be told. It's all about making it as good for the fans as possible, which is, really a terrific attitude to have.
Do you have any? Do you have anything else coming down the line in terms of comic output other than those two books?
Well, let's see. In terms of comic output, yeah, I'm working on comic books that tie into the Epic Mickey. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun working on the Epic Mickey books. I mean, I haven't done Disney comics since The Little Mermaid, so it's been a lot of fun being involved with that particular world. And I have some other projects coming up that I'm not really at liberty to talk about right now, and I have other stuff coming up right here. The Spider-Man Vault. Well, it's sitting right in front of me.
Exactly.
The Spider-Man Vault, which is going to be coming out in November, a fairly personal history of of Spider-Man and his development and growth. And as do all the Vault books, it comes with built-in little collectibles, which is really kind of cool.
So who worked on that with you?
Bob Greenberger was the co-writer on it. He basically did a ton of research and wrote all the footnotes and helped with the editing of it. So, I mean, he did so much work on it. It was, put his name on there because he absolutely deserves it.
Just to wrap up, are there any characters in any universe, in any medium that you'd love to write that you've never written before? Given all the characters you've written, you've written a lot of characters. Anyone you haven't written that you'd like to write?
Doc Savage. I think Doc Savage would be really cool to write.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a great day.